Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle. If you are new here, welcome. I love having you here, and if you are one of my older viewers, thank you so much for being back. Today I'm going to share a watercolor grungy page with you in my large Art by Marlene journal. So I received this new little stencil that day that I did this, and I wanted to take it for a spin. So it's not a new stencil, but it is new to me. It's one of Marlene's older ones, but I've only just now gotten it. So I wanted to make a watercolory background. So I'm starting off with my acrylic paints from Marlene, and I'm just watering them down. So I'm using quite a thick watercolor brush, and I'm loading it up with water and then thinning out that paint with a bit of water just to get that watercolory effect. I really like using acrylic paints as a watercolor instead of normal watercolors. The reason is because I work with so many layers. Once I've dried the previous layer, I know it's not going to move. Whereas if I used real watercolors, you know, every time you put something wet over it, it's going to activate again. So this way, I know once I like something, I can just dry whatever that is, and it's going to stay that way. Not that the bottom layer really matters with me and all my layers, because you often don't see that. But anyway, for me, it makes more sense to have acrylic paints watered down instead of using watercolors. So I've gone in with Happy. I mixed a little bit of Kermit and Envy together. I used Ballet, that's the pink one, and the blue is Mermaid. And I suspect I also went in with a little bit of a purple, but I might be wrong. And every now and then you'll see I just splatter off what I have on my brush, and it just creates a little bit of extra texture. Okay, now I've got my punk paint out, which is Marlene's neon purple paint, and I've mixed it with a little bit of white paint as well, her lace, and I'm just using that through the stencil, and I'm sponging it through with just a makeup sponge. And I'm going to alternate between the colors, and I'm not cleaning my sponge in between because I want that really nice blended look. And yeah, I'm just going all around the border and trying to fill in all those little gaps. Some places I am lining the stencil up to what I did before, and other times I'm not. And right now I'm just filling that border with a couple of flowers, and I'm just choosing the little florally bits and giving everything a quick dry so that I know that things are going to stay put when I go over with the next layer. Okay, now I'm going to go in with some neons. I really like when I've got pastel-y looking colors on my page and going in over the top with neons. I think it just brings such an unexpected pop of color. So I often do that. And I'm just putting the neon paint on with my finger, and then I put the stencil over the top and wipe it away with a baby wipe. So to do this technique, my suggestion would be, if you have a really juicy and wet baby wipe, is to just squeeze it out onto your apron or onto a rag or something, just to get some of that excess moisture off. So you also don't want your baby wipe to be completely dry, but it must definitely not be too wet, because then it just creates spillage underneath the stencil and you won't have that crisp, clear, ghosting print going on. My other piece of advice for doing that is to just play around with what you have. play around with your paints and the consistency and the amount of paint that you put down, and play around with your wet wipes. Maybe try different brands until you find one that you like. Most of what I've learned over the years have just been through play and seeing what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. Okay, so I really like the page up to this point, and I kind of wish that I did not do the black, but I did. So now that I've committed to one spot of black, I'm going to go all around the border with just Marlene's pitch paint. I'm again just doing that ghosting technique and wiping away through the stencil. And even here, there was a stage where like now when I look back at it, I thought, oh gosh, I should have stopped there, but I didn't. So this video kind of goes on and on because the page just went on, and I wasn't quite happy, and I wish I had stopped, but I didn't. So yeah, enjoy the process with me. I really like the way that it turned out in the end. I'm very happy with the page. When I open my journal and I look at it, I really like it. So in the end, it worked out well. I think I would like to try and recreate that background again one day, but then not add the black bits. But for this day, for some reason, I decided to do black. So there you go. Every now and then, I'll just also use my paintbrush. I did that with the white as well, and I'll just do a little bit of mark making. And now I'm going to actually stencil through that stencil and just try and fix what I messed up. But that also did not feel right to me. As you'll see, I'm just going to keep going. If you noticed the light changing just a few minutes ago, we actually had an electricity outage for a couple of minutes, but thankfully it came back on again. All right, now to knock back the black, I decided I'm going to go in with some white paint. So I'm using my Amsterdam acrylic paint in titanium white. This is the whitest paint that I've ever had. I really, really like how crisp and opaque it is. So it's definitely my favorite one. And I'm also taking a photo for in between. Maybe one day I will make a print of it and use it again. I think I did that a couple of times. So I kind of felt better, but not really when I did the white. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to just add some more neons and see where that leads me. And I really didn't have a plan for this. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I would put a focal image on there. I was really just playing. And I normally don't do bordery pages like this, just because I then never know if I'm going to do a focal image or what. But then in the end, I did decide to just go with a quote. And this quote says, Meraki, and it's something about when you make art and you leave a little bit of yourself in there, and because you're working with your soul or something. I don't know the exact quote, but it is a really lovely quote. And I never leave enough space on my pages for big quotes like this. So I decided that this was actually the perfect page for a nice bigger quote that I really, really like and I would like in my journal, but just never have the space for. I did go in with my Stabilo All pencil and just do a little shadow underneath those letters or the words that I cut up into strips. I often cut my phrases and words from Marlene's sticky quote books up into strips just to make them fit well onto my pages. And yeah, it's just, again, one of those things where I think we should make our art supplies work for us, not the other way around. If something doesn't fit, don't be afraid of cutting them or trimming them or making them fit the way you want them. So yeah, they're there for us to have fun and play with. Excuse me. Then I'm going in with some black splatters. I really like the way the splatters looked on it. And then just the last little bit, I thought I'd lost quite a bit of my pink, so I'm just going to stencil in a little bit more pink over some of the white areas there. That's it for this page. Thank you so much for being here and bearing with me through this very tedious process. I really, like I said, I do love this page in my journal. It makes me really happy when I look at it. And sometimes it's just worth it to just keep pushing and playing and pushing until you have something that you really like and enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. If you have not done so yet, please subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment. I really like hearing from you guys. And yeah, I'll chat to you again very soon. Bye.